Tammy, how are you?
I'm good, Chrisette. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I
You're
really do.
welcome to be here. You're welcome.
So I am going to start just by first, again, thanking you, for just taking the time out. I know you're busy. My first question for you, you have the song Wait. So I want to know what inspired that. Like right now, the world is just kind of like completely stopped. So where did that come from? Where did that inspiration come from for this song?
Sure. I had just ended my last love relationship almost 2 years ago. And 3 months into leaving, I began to wonder, how do I set up home? How do I set up a space for all of my energy, like all the
Right.
parts of me, even down to organizing, because I had been on a tour bus for over a decade. I had been moving nonstop for years. That was the life that I knew. That was what I gotten as my first job was you don't have a home. So creating home, creating that safe space, it took me some time. It took me almost 2 years to really feel like I have a grasp, a grip on what it means to have a space for me. And as I began to experience that for myself, the world began to go into quarantine.
Yes.
Towards the end of me setting that up, I said, oh my goodness, maybe the world could use this song. But at first, it was just for me. And it felt really awesome to release it and know that it was two people who were creating home. Because that's what
Oh man.
quarantine, right? Is create a new idea of home.
I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I'm absolutely feeling that, feeling that right now, feeling your effects. So that song does definitely touch your heart. I also want to know, you've also had your birthday collection just released. It actually sold out within the first few days. So can you tell me a little bit about what inspired the collection itself? What and then you're also like styling yourself. You also have your own, collection. What made you say, "Hey, I'm gonna step into the clothing realm"?
Sure. I put out capsule collections now, probably for the last, oh my goodness, maybe 7 years, just because it's a way to come together with your community, kind of celebrate each other's bodies, kind of celebrate each other's fashion sense, and celebrate. Really, for me, it's about celebrating life. Do you know? At
Mhm.
one point, I did a whole yoga collection and we celebrated inner peace. And so this one is about celebrating life. We've been through a lot this year.
Mhm.
The birthday,
Mhm.
it started with denim, and as we move into the holiday season, it'll move into sequins and all that fun stuff. But it's about celebrating. It doesn't have to have a high price point. It doesn't have to be made out of gold and diamonds. But can we just have a little bit of fun? So that's kind of the inspiration behind it. Is let's celebrate life for a sec because we're still here. We've been through a lot.
Yeah.
The other side.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, I also wanted to ask you, just, from the music that you put out to you're even a certified yoga instructor now,
Mhm.
right? So I know with that, yoga, you do find peace, with that. It's something that kind of centers you. So I know you were also on a journey to inner peace. Can you tell me about some of the things that you feel would help others that you may have encountered on your journey to get there?
Yeah, some things are to quiet the body, and some things are to quiet the spirit. And yoga definitely quiets the body. A lot of times we have deep aches and pains in the physical space, in the physical
Hmm.
realm. There's so much tissue laying on top of tissue that's tight, and it's tightening the tissue beneath it. And we don't know why we have this headache, and we don't know why we have this back pain. And sometimes it's really about, doing the asana practice of yoga and just stretching it out, laying on it. Um,
Hmm.
Sometimes when we can calm the body, it helps to introduce us again to our mind and to our spirit. Other times, our spirit is all over the place, and we need to get that in check before we even our body. Like I know for myself, I love to be touched and to touch. I
Hmm.
calm that down sometimes. So sometimes I gotta get my spirit in check, like, girl, you going through on the inside. Calm my need to be touched. So my what's exciting for me is kind of talking about both sides, the spiritual side and the physical side. And yoga really helps out with the physical side. That was about 5 years ago that I got certified finally. But I figured at the time, why not? I opened up a yoga studio and a dance studio, and I wanted to teach too.
Oh my goodness. Let me tell you something. You also have the sistership.
Mhm.
So that's something sometimes I see that we've been missing, just as far as how it's put out into to the public, to the media. What made you come up with the sistership?
It was really around having had that yoga studio and that dance studio, watching women come into the rooms in the dance studio in the yoga space and just begin to release as soon as they saw another sister kind of
Hmm.
freaked me out. I said, oh my God, you mean to tell me all they needed was a room and this love happens? How can I create more rooms like this? One way was to do it digitally. I wasn't sure if it would feel like a yoga studio, but I'm noticing the same thing happen where women are releasing with other women, loving on each other, and realizing that they're not by themselves. So I think the yoga studio and the dance studio inspired it.
I love it. I love it. Now, I do want to say, I of course am a fan. I've been listening to your music for years. When it comes to you with the music, I know we talked about the song Wait, but what type of headspace do you put yourself in? What do you do to kind of like center yourself or get started in the production of a song or writing a song?
It depends on if it's for work or for pleasure. When I'm in the R&B space, and it's with a major label, and there's all these, dates and deadlines and rollout plans and marketing and all that, then I work really hard to get into the R&B headspace, and that
Mm.
is. I might wear stilettos at the studio. I might, be at the writing session in full gear, like we are on stage, honey, and we got love songs for days. But when I'm just writing, most of those songs just come to me. Wait just came to me. Blame It On Me just came to me, like in a dream, or I just woke up with it. So it depends on what it's for. But music is always in my head.
Well, that's awesome. Um, because I'll tell you, I think the first time I ever saw you like in concert, my wife actually surprised me with tickets to your show out in Charlotte. So I was like elated. I think it was a show you brought out, Lil Mo. I forgot where it was at, the Fillmore. And I will say your music does touch people, so you can tell that you actually put your heart into your lyrics, into your music, into your writing. And that also brings me to, I guess, my next question. You also have an academy for other vocalists, and you've took down the veil or removed the veil, so to speak, because you are actually mentoring them. What made you say, hey, this is something I'm going to do to help other vocalists, to help other or people that are looking to get into the entertainment industry?
Yeah, first I definitely want to mention, and just in case anybody listening is a musician or an artist, a lot of what you do doesn't come from your own life experience. A lot of what you end up giving people is not something you've been through. A lot of times when I'm saying songs, they aren't songs that I've been through, but they're songs that I know touch other people. And so stepping onto the stage to serve is just that. It's serving the audience. And so when we're pushing as artists, when we're giving as artists from the stage, we're pulling from wanting an audience member to have a breakthrough. We're wanting an audience member to feel something. We're wanting them to elevate from whatever it is they're going through, whether we've been there or not, whether we're there right now or not.
Hmm.
Many of the songs that I've written are not songs about myself, but songs that I know people need to hear. And it comes the same way with mentorship. I would travel to a lot of colleges before and after performances because I like I like education. I come from a family of teachers, and so the students would knock on my tour bus, and I wouldn't have enough time to give them everything that they needed. And I hated that. I hated seeing a student in the space and mindset of a student in front of a teacher who has to tour and she can't finish the conversation. So I created a digital space where I could do that about 6 years ago, and it's morphed into many other things. But one thing it's morphed into was Rich Hipster University and the Inner Peace Academy. Rich Hipster's name is changing to the Inner Peace Academy because what I found is that most people are just looking for inner peace. They're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
who am I? And can I say it out loud? Whether it's a musician,
Mm.
a doctor, a mayor, a coffee grinder, everybody's looking for, how do I assert my truth out loud without apology?
Mm. I love that. I love that. I think a lot of people will be able to gain so much from that and to learn a lot from you. Um, One thing, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but one thing I do want to ask you, what's, I guess, one thing that, is there a certain event or um, something that you would say looked like a trial in the beginning for you or a challenge as far as it comes to the inner peace portion of yourself, or even when you were younger, that you look at like now, okay, I can use this to my advantage, or now I can, this is something that's helped me help other people? What's something that, if you have a certain event or something specific?
Yeah, being in the music business as a signed artist is a pressure cooker. You're asked all the time to create something and deliver something on a timeline. And so being in the school of Def Jam for almost a decade, I think, um, and having to learn how to produce from the creative energy space on a timeline, it taught me that there's no excuses. It taught me that you don't get to cry
Mm.
when you've signed up for something. You sign up for things because you have a passion in what you do. Well, after you sign up, there's going to be a whole bunch of challenges along the way that are asking you to go faster, to go harder, to do it again. And that season is preparing you for your next season. A lot of times people are in the hardest season of their life and they want to give up and they don't realize that it's preparing them for another season where they'll know how to handle it. My life is easier now than it's ever been because I've had to experience so much trial while I was in school, while I was in the school of Def Jam, while I was in the school of cancel culture, while I was in the school of Rick Ross and Chrisette Michele have a beef, while I was in the school of put out 11 songs by next week. All those schools made my life become easier now. So now I'm a master of parts of myself and I am authoritative in my being. I'm not curious as to who I am or what I'm doing.
Mm. I like that. That's intentional. That's like saying, okay, I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do.
I know what I'm
Um,
because you can point around, right? Can't we all? We can point. That almost killed me. Oh, wait a minute. No, that almost took me out. Oh no, what? Do you think now that I did end after that, what's left after the fire? That's
mhm.
your gold.
I love that. I love that. My last question for you, because I know, again, I thank you for your time. Um, I always like to ask everybody that comes on the podcast, what's one, and the years actually passed by so quickly. Um, so, so I would say for next year, what's one goal that you hope, or one or two goals that you hope to accomplish? Now, I ask people this because you never know, who's listening. You never know because the universe is listening, what can or who can help you or where your help will come from. So I always like to ask, what are one or two goals that you set for yourself that you hope to accomplish next year?
I am the worst goal setter that has. Yet I'm always making plans, right? And the question I've had lately is what's the difference between goals and plans?
Mm,
And so when I think about goals, I'd rather think about what desires do I have that will fulfill my purpose, right? And
yeah.
so the desires that I have that will fulfill my purpose are in the space of more education around coaching, more education around what I do for a living, right? I love
Mhm.
vegan. That's one of my favorite things at school. But if I had to say what some of my plans are that I hope to accomplish, if God doesn't laugh at them, is I want to get out and do more speaking, not the type of speaking I've done already, because I've spoken at anywhere from Harvard to Temple to Spelman to just a bunch of places. But I want to speak to people who know me as the R&B girl too. Those people are usually not interested in me opening my mouth unless there's a song coming out. But I want
Mm,
them to begin to learn the heart of the servers, the heart of the people that they've been receiving from. Because I think that it would help to unify us as a culture if we understood the culture creators. There's
mm.
a disconnect between the consumer and the creator that breaks the heart of creatives. We're trying to communicate, but all you let us give you is a song. If you heard what we thought, you might be surprised at how much more we have to share. So I want to talk more.
Like that. All right. Well, listen, thank you so much just for your time today. I will make sure, everybody gets the links to all of your projects that you have going on now. And I thank you once again, and thank you and your team. And you have a great day.
Thank you. Looking forward to reposting. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.